life is suffering, man, and we have to learn to be content with that, because it's like, bro, like, no matter what you do, suffering will always be in your life, and there's two ways you can go to either avoid the suffering or embrace the suffering. So the way that I see it is that if we pursue things that distract us from our suffering, which is, you know, it's inevitable, it's like a human trait, like we're always gonna be like, oh, and if we distract ourselves in like bad ways, like bad as in like instant gratification, as in like, okay, I'm gonna watch a movie instead of, you know, hanging around and having existential thoughts. I'm gonna, you know, binge watch a TV show or play video games or like whatever the fuck, because it feels good now. And it's nice to not have to think about things. It's nice to not have to think about the ways in which we're suffering. Or you could go the other route and just embrace it. If you suffer now harder than before, then it's like you're not even prolonging the suffering. You're suffering now so that your future is better. For example, every morning I take a cold shower, and it is horrible. It's fucking horrible. It's, ugh, I dread it every single morning. I'm like, oh, half asleep, thinking like, oh, I'll just put on the hot water. No, I have to take a cold shower. When I get out, I feel so much better. I feel so much better for the whole day. Like my dopamine has just been like raised like for the whole day, and it's worth it because then I get more work done, and then I get, you know, a happier day. It's like, it's worth it, okay? It's the same thing with, another example is exercise. It feels bad now, but in the future, we're gonna be healthier and fitter. So it's like, what do you decide to do? Do you avoid the suffering, or do you embrace it? Because no matter what happens, we're gonna be suffering anyway. Because if you go down the instant gratification route, you're not actually, you know, you're not actually getting rid of the suffering. You're just prolonging it. So instead of suffering now, you're gonna suffer even worse in the future. That's how these, you know, TV shows and stuff, that's how it works. Like anything that gives you like a shit ton of dopamine, like even with listening to music, like I listened to a song today and it sounded so good. It was like, oh, beautiful. I loved it. I was appreciating it. I was like, this is so good. I was literally dancing. But then I turned it off because I remembered the times in my life where I'd listen to way too much music and I'd get bored of it. And, you know, I feel like this used to be a problem that I went through a lot, where music just didn't sound the same. It wasn't giving me that same like brain dopamine hit, like, oh, that sounds so good. You know what I mean? Like, when was the last time you listened to music and you were like, oh my god, like little like brain orgasm right there? You have to like find the strength to suffer now, otherwise, like, fuck man, we're gonna be like feeling even worse in the future. So that's just the way that I see suffering, and I want everyone to be okay with suffering because it's inevitable, you know, it's a part of life. If we just prolong it, it's like there's no point. You're just gonna feel miserable in the future. You might as well do things for your future self because, you know, oh, getting that dopamine hit now feels so good, but even over the long run, it's like that stuff starts to go down. It's like at some point, it doesn't feel as good. So yeah, delay the gratification and just like hang out with it. So yeah, talk to you later. Peace.